Where's that presentation you need for your boss? Slack? Email? Drive? Lost, like your sanity, after wasting hours searching 76 tabs. Your work tools shouldn't take so much work. Dropbox Dash finds what you need fast across all your work apps, so you can focus on what matters. Spend less time searching, more time creating. Learn more at dropbox.com/dash.
Prime delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking puzzle toys and LickPad delivered so fast you can get this puppy under control fast. We're talking chew toys at your door without really waiting fast. Pee pads, cooling mat, and peg hammer fast and fast. And there's training TREATS faster than you can say sit fast. And now we can all relax and order these matching hoodies to get cozy and cute fast. Fast free delivery. It's on Prime.
Are you ready to let go of what isn't truly you and start living a more meaningful life? I'm Dr. Tracy, clinical psychologist and couples therapist, and I'm here to help. Each week on Dear Dr. Tracy, I bring you expert insights, real conversations, and practical tools to help you break old patterns, find joy in your relationships, and show up fully for yourself and the people you love. Join me for honest, insightful discussions on relationships, parenting, and personal growth. Listen to Dear Dr. Tracy wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey there, we're BookTok for BookTok with Jack and Amy, your book besties who take the novels you love seriously. This is Jack.
And I'm Amy, and we embrace and respect modern fantasy, romance, and romantasy books written by women. And so it's in our nature to analyze these books as we would any other novel we might have dissected in school.
With our combined 13 years of literary academic training, we use our education to analyze and give voice to the reasons why you may love or hate today's popular books.
This is part 2 of this week's episode, where we're discussing chapters 27 through 34 of Sarah J. Maas's second Throne of Glass novel, Crown of Midnight.
Before we dive in, don't forget about Spilt. Spoilers, perspective, interpretation, language, themes.
If you would like more information, please go back and listen to the start of part 1 of this week's episode.
You know, I have really geared up this entire season of like, nope, they could work it out. End game, totally. And now I'm just like, damn it, this is why they don't work.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I like Rowan.
It's fair.
Has your opinion changed so far?
No comment.
Comment, ho?
No. I'm only 40% into the book.
Okay. Chaol tries to get through to Celaena. Quote, Celaena, I'm your friend. She stared at him, panting through gritted teeth, her breath coming quicker and quicker before she roared, the sound filling the room, his blood, his world. You will never be my friend. You will always be my enemy. It's very tragic, right? This feels like one of those lines that SJM knew she wanted to have. It's a very poignant moment. It's a very intense moment. And I also find it to be an interesting choice of words. Yeah, they are friends. For the majority of their dynamic, other than this past week, they have been friends, right? But they're also more than friends. I don't know. It just felt like an interesting word choice here, because I would not go straight for their friends because, yeah. But I know they have a history of friendship too. You have thoughts?
Yeah, I do have thoughts. You know, they've been friends longer than they've been fucking. They've only been fucking for a week. And we really have written more swear words down in these notes than most other notes that we've ever written. There's also the fact that they are in front of Dorian and Chaol's fellow guards. Mm-hmm. And while everyone kind of know what's going on, this is not the place to be like, I love you, when you've never said it before, right?
Yeah.
What else are you supposed to say? They haven't said that they're boyfriend, girlfriend. They haven't sworn themselves.
I think a good I love you in this moment. Oh, they've sworn themselves. They did a you jump.
Not that we've seen on
they did a you jump, I jump. They did a hey, we're going to leave together.
Okay.
Hey, you guys can't see it. She just eye rolled the fuck out of this right now.
That's easy to say, though.
No, I mean, it's fair. But this is also...
There's been no swapping of blood, a blood vow.
We have different levels of commitment.
I don't take people at their word.
And that's my problem, is I have. Oh, but you said you wanted kids in marriage? Okay.
I'm sorry. It's not me that said it, but, still sorry.
No, it's all right.
All right, back to it.
Yeah.
I also do think on some level, Chaol's got to know, this is over. between us. We're not anything but friends, if we can even be friends. But before we go into the next chapter, I just want to kind of dwell on the quote, "She roared, the sound filling the room, his blood, his world." It's very all-consuming. And is it because it's life-altering? You know, it still feels very much like he is entranced by her. And I don't know what's supposed to be implied here, because it's not like he still thinks she's going to be his wife. Is it her magnetism? Like, I have no idea.
No, I think it's like, I think he did it before this moment. This was his future wife. Like, this was the woman he was going to marry. And so when her words is altering in my mind, I read it as like, it was so life altering, his blood, his world, that the life that he was going to have is not going to be it anymore. Like, he woke up thinking, Daddy's going to have to figure it out because I'm going to marry her.
Yeah, not anymore.
Nope. So I'll take a sip. Chapter 31 starts, and Chaol takes an unconscious Celaena to the dungeon because one of the guards was, Celaena's about to stab Chaol, and then Dorian comes in with his magic hand, stops Celaena. Celaena hisses at Dorian, and no one's catching the fact that she like looks up at Dorian and goes, like no one. Yeah, like it's described as like she looks up and goes at him, and then Dorian was like, I really hope no one notices that she took her entire focus off of the man she's trying to kill, looked at me and hissed. I hope no one caught that.
Yeah, seriously.
And then meanwhile, poor guard over there was like, you all are so stupid. Let me take care of this, and just knocks her out. So that's where we are. And Chaol has carrying her unconscious body to the dungeons. Quote, he tried not to look at Caltain's curious, half-mad face as... Sorry.
By the way, this is Dorian's point of view.
Right. Quote, he tried not to look at Caltain's curious, half-mad face as Chaol laid Celaena in the cell beside hers. There's something that's frustrating and also very poetic about this is the fact that the two women who are in here, who are considered to be mad, who have considered to have gone feral, are the two women that are going to play a big part in destiny in everything that's about to go down. And all the men get to go live up top and are free and get to live like nothing's happened. And then the innocent women have been trapped in here because they have played into the fate of others, essentially. It's poetic and it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Poetically annoying.
I agree.
I feel like Chaol is remembering events differently. Personally, I had to double check this moment here. Essentially, Chaol thinks about how, quote, the king wanted the princess questioned and told Chaol to keep Celaena away tonight. The king did not do that. The king said, hey, don't let us be interrupted. And then there's silence, which Chaol took to mean also Celaena. And don't get me wrong, he probably did mean don't let Celaena intrude. But at the same time, just getting instructions of don't let anyone interrupt is like, that's pretty standard. I'm in a meeting, don't interrupt. But I think it's, again, I'm not going to use it as bad writing. I'm going to use it as Chaol just having anything to punish himself. Because right now he is in full punishing himself mode.
Which we all do when we feel guilty, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't think he has anything to feel really too guilty on here, because he didn't say that Nehemia was going to be questioned. I understand why he didn't, because he felt like it was a trick to see if he would tell Celaena. And honestly, being questioned is one of the most non-threatening things that you could do. I mean, it's not like he was told, bring her to the dungeon. It was, we're going to go over here. And even Dorian at one point says he knew that that the dad was going to question Nehemia.
Mm-hmm.
Or did he not?
No,
he did not.
He says that he was at dinner with his dad.
Yeah, it's confusing. Anyway, so we're with Celaena, and she is depressed and broken in the dungeon. Quote, she smiled bitterly as her eyes opened. It was always the same story, the same loss. That sentiment, that feeling, I will never forgive Elena for that.
I agree.
I will be bitter to that ghostly bitch forever.
Fuck Elena.
Fuck Elena.
Before that quote, there's this moment where Celaena thinks, quote, she was living the same story again and again. The night she'd been captured, she'd also snapped and come so close to killing the person she most wanted to destroy before someone knocked her out and she awoke in a rotting dungeon. Now, this is where I make my Rourke Farron point. There's so much irony, right? Because Celaena starts the evening thinking Chaol and Sam are the same. I got to go save him. But by the end of the night, Chaol ends up being her captor. Who was her captor last time? It was Rourke Farron. So Chaol has gone from being Sam's replacement to being Rourke Farron's replacement. And that's why she was so vicious in her attack towards Chaol, because it shows how Chaol is no longer Sam. Chaol is a villain and the one who ultimately is responsible for Celaena's friend's death, aka Nehemia in this case. Quote, "She hoped the 4 scratches scarred. She hoped she would never see him again. If she did, she'd kill him." It is a complete 180 from the way she woke up a day before. 24 hours ago, she woke up loving life, thinking about a future with Chaol. And now she's like, I'm going to fucking kill him. It's tragic.
It's so tragic. But also, she hopes that it scars. So does Chaol. Chaol's going to think, I hope it scars too.
Yeah.
It is a perfectly heartbreaking moment. Like, it is great. I just have notes. I'm going to question some of the logic that is happening because I wonder if it is all around enough. Thinking about Chaol, so this is Celaena thinking about Chaol, quote, "He'd known the king wanted to question Nehemia. He'd known that the king," and then she kind of cuts off. As a writer, is this enough of an incentive to think that the king would have openly killed her? Because saying like he knew the king wanted to question her almost implies like he knew the king wanted to kill her.
Yeah.
I don't think that wanting to question her is like an obvious thing for wants to kill her because of how public of a figure Nehemia is.
I understand your point. I just don't think Celaena is logical when it comes to the king.
I'm not asking of Celaena, I'm asking of SJM.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I understand what you're saying. I think what I'm trying to say is Celaena is going to interpret anything the king says he's going to do as having malicious intent. Chaol did not interpret questioning Nehemia as having malicious intent. In Celaena's mind, she's like, how could you not know he has malicious intent, right? Whether she's right or wrong, she's always going to make that leap because she's irrational when it comes to him because of her experience.
Unless it happens again in a later book and I just forgot. I needed that conversation from them in order for this to make sense for me and to have like a closed out moment. You know, like what you just said there of, you know, Chaol being like, hey, he's the king questioning a princess. It's no big deal. Like, you know, it's fine. And then Celaena saying, you know, he's not a good man. He was always going to have malicious intent.
Yeah.
That's a fair conversation that I think needed to happen.
That's fair.
It could have happened in this book. It could have even just been logical. Like, even if she just at one point, not now, right now it's fresh, she's in the dungeon, but at one point to just be like, okay, yeah, I get that it might, you know, for Chaol, it was no big deal, but he should have known better.
Yeah.
That's a good point, but that's not what SJM wrote. I think you fixed her. You made it better for her.
Okay.
So I'm thinking more about other moments, if they're earned in general. Quote, she'd been foolish enough to think that Chaol had put the final piece into place, foolish enough to think just for a moment that she could get away with being happy. So the part that I want to question here is I would have liked more moments of Celaena struggling to choose to be happy from Sam, of moving past the trauma of Sam. And there's a few moments where she does think about Sam. Like there's a few points where, you know, like we know that it still impacts her. But I would have liked more signs in this book in general of, I'm trying to figure out how to say it, like letting Sam go, letting Chaol take that role of Sam.
Yeah.
Because right now, like that sentiment, like, sorry, I thought I could be happy. I thought I could get away with everything. Like all of this could be good. It feels more bitter towards all of Sam and everything versus Chaol. I really would have liked them to, I think SJM did a good job of making Celaena and Chaol's relationship their own, like so much their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I needed more, maybe a couple more moments where she does see Chaol as Sam earlier in the book.
Yeah, so I always took this to be associated with the conversation that Celaena and Nehemia have right before their fight. And Celaena thinks for the first time in 10 years, she felt happy. And so for me, the get away with being happy was more about the existential, I can be happy in a world without Terrazin and my parents and be with this man. So that, I guess that's how I took it.
I think this is one of those moments where I was just writing, not really thinking of that quote specifically.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in general, I think I would have liked more comparison of the two.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. Or I think it's a valid thought.
Thank you.
I didn't think about Sam in this moment, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Now, Celaena is not in a good headspace. And if you're reading closely, everything is signaling that. When she is thinking about Chaol, Celaena thinks, quote, he was so stupidly honorable and loyal. So this is her thinking about how shortly after she thinks he'd know the king wanted to question Nehemia. And she's like, well, he's so stupidly honorable and loyal, he would never have told me. And it's important that we're seeing this, that she's now seeing his honorable nature, his loyalty as bad, because these were traits that inspired her previously. That's what made her think that he was a good man, that there could be a court like Terrazin because of people like Chaol. But now it's his fatal flaw. Now it's something that is stupid and causes the death of Nehemia, and that can't be undone.
Okay, so we now get the part where I was questioning, like, hey, I just need her to say, you know, it's not like Chaol should have known that it wasn't about, you know, Chaol should, like, he should have known that it wasn't had anything to do with anything. It makes the reveal that Archer set them up feel less impactful.
Yeah. I'm
struggling with that too. So part of my struggle with all of this is knowing that at the end of the book, it's going to be like, Archer's like, I set up Chaol the whole time.
I honestly forgot Archer was that Machiavellian, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, this right here is answering my question of, I just needed Celaena to have that moment of being like, okay, yes, questioning isn't that bad. However, Chaol should have known better.
Yeah.
All of that can be true. But then that last bit, because she starts to forgive Chaol at the very end, and then Chaol sees her Fae form, and then that's kind of like the final nail in the coffin, because when Archer reveals, like, I set it up the whole time, and then she goes, oh my God, you made me try to think that Chaol was a bad guy, but at the same time, I'm not seeing that connection very well done here.
Yeah. I think, so this is a conversation we'll probably have towards the end of the book, but I don't know that Archer needed to be Machiavellian for this. I felt like Chaol was true to who he was. She was true to who she was. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it just doesn't work. That's how I feel. It
would have been a greater, I mean, again, I'm still caught on like, because Archer, when we get to that point, we'll get to that point. Because Archer says, like, at a certain point, Nehemia stopped trusting him, and then he kind of they had to start doing their own thing. But again, how the hell did they know that she had to be questioned? And that was the night to take Chaol, which implies Nehemia had to be involved at some point. And then, so would have it been a greater reveal at the very end to be like, well, Nehemia wanted Chaol taken? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
Questions.
Many.
Mm-hmm. As someone who has experienced a fair amount of loss, when I wrote it, I was like, not many. And I started counting. I'm like, all right, a fair amount of loss. I get stuck with this quote. To know that Nehemia had been here on this earth, and she had been all that was good and brave and wonderful. This is very common when someone dies. You are going to idolize them. You are going to think only the most wonderful, positive thoughts about them at first. And that's normal. My other struggle is that with grief and time, and again, like, she's still in the dungeon, so we're not there yet, but through grief and time, you kind of have to remind yourself of like who they were. And I don't think that you're not like putting them down, you know, but I think it's part of coming to terms when you're grieving someone is grieving all of the good, but also all of the bad, and just like who they actually were as a person. And I don't remember Celaena ever coming to that realization, because Nehemia is not all that was good and wonderful in the world. And she is putting her up on a pedestal right now, which is normal.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. This is somewhere I struggled as well and didn't feel like it was earned because, again, Nehemia wasn't wonderful. Maybe she was brave in fighting for her people. She was never very nice.
No.
So at least through what we've seen through Celaena's eyes in this book so far and in Throne of Glass, I don't know that that fits the description. However, I do understand idolizing the dead and rewriting history, as you've said, Jack. I will also say from my life experience, I have seen how traumatized family members can easily rewrite their past.
Yeah.
Because they're just alone. And therefore, it's easy to miss an awful person and only remember positive things about them.
Yep.
Which I also don't understand. But I think we're just healthier people, right? Celaena is a traumatized person who probably has never had a healthy relationship ever. She had healthiness with Chaol for this amount of time. And even then, that was questionable compared to the rest of her relationships. And like I said, everyone who dies always goes back to her parents. And as we learn about her parents, I don't think we ever learn anything bad about them.
Yeah.
And if her parents are perfect and everyone like Sam and Nehemia are equivalent to her parents who also died, it's easy to see how she idolizes these people and then never takes them off that pedestal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something you said kind of reminded me of when we were reviewing Powerless, when we did our book club analysis of it. And we said something in that episode, I can't remember that character's name again, but we were saying that she was only capable of letting one person in at a time.
Oh, Peyton.
She was only able to emotionally let someone in, one person at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's a certain level to that here as well, where, you know, think about Celaena's time as an assassin. You know, she couldn't really let people get in that close. Sam was different.
Yeah.
Right. And she's experienced tons of betrayal, but, you know, you come out of her different levels of trauma. And I think she thinks that she was a lot closer to Nehemia. And I think in book 1 she was, because she trusted her with more things.
Mm-hmm.
But then in book 2, she trusted Chaol with more things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know what point I was making, but I thought it. There's a moment of camaraderie between Celaena and Kaltain, and I find this to be a far better bonding moment than Celaena giving Kaltain the cloak. Quote, "If they let you out," Kaltain said, both of them staring into the blackness of their prisons, "make sure that they're punished someday, every last one of them." Celaena listened to her own breathing, felt Chaol's blood under her nails, and the blood of all those men she'd hacked down, and the coldness of Nehemia's room, where all that gore had soaked the bed. They will be. That's girlhood. That's bonding.
I'll get revenge for you. Don't worry.
That's little bonds, you know?
Yeah.
But again, I kind of want to look into going back to this meaning of nails, and they were claws before, they're cracked. And right now, all of her nails are filled with men's blood currently. Because, you know, her claws, they're contained right now, but her bloody man claws or man blood claws are going to...
Man-killing claws
will come out later. But it just shows more about how women are imprisoned and murdered, while in the patriarchal world, the actual murderers and the ones who are doing everything wrong are not in the prison.
Yep, that's a great point. Before the end of the scene, Celaena thinks, quote, "Her body didn't feel quite like hers when she pulled the tray of food toward her, the metal scraping against the old, damp stones. She wasn't even hungry." Celaena Sardothien is always hungry. It's part of her characterization. It's part of her identity. And yes, it is a symptom of depression. But, you know, in the grand context of what is happening, what Celaena is going through right now, it's also just a clue of how she is spiraling.
I have this memory of like the months of like post breakup, a grandparent dying. And I was like so sad. And you're like, we should get some food. And I was like, I'm not hungry. And I just had this moment. I could see like the concern in your eyes of like, she's not hungry again.
Yeah. At some point, this has to end.
Yeah, like, and it did. Don't worry. And I gained weight. But now we've lost that. But but it was just like, I have like, it's funny in retrospect of just being like, I'm not hungry. And that, like, just I could see the words and like it flashed before your eyes, like, she's not hungry again. This isn't good. We are in Chaol's point of view, and the reality of who the king is and what kind of man he really is starting to hit home. Quote, "It had taken a surprising amount of self-control for Chaol to not throttle his own sovereign." You know, his loyalty is being tested. He's trying to not lose it, because at this point, Chaol is trying to get him to be, you know, I don't know, feel bad about Nehemia dying in general, and the king just does not give a fuck. And it's still not enough for him to leave the king. It's still not enough for him to be like, you know what? You do suck.
Yes. However, we also have to remember Chaol has literally nothing other than his role serving the king, right?
Yeah.
And this is what's going to make finding out about Celaena's will later all the more tragic, because maybe if he had known sooner, his actions would be different. But right now, he has nothing but his loyalty to the king, which ensures his lifestyle, his comfort, and, you know, this role that is his entire identity.
And the kings didn't do it. You know, the king did not have her murdered. He just is not very empathetic.
Happy.
Yeah.
Right. He's just like smarmy about it.
Yeah, like it's right now it's not enough to be I'm going to leave you.
Right. And I think the fact that Chaol is so upset with the king, even though he doesn't leave him, it's still a reminder that Chaol didn't do this intentionally. And we're going to see how Chaol feels guilty and how he's mad at himself. Chaol's not happy that Nehemia is dead. He doesn't think that what happened is a good thing, where the king is like, hey, she's dead. I don't have to do it myself. And it's little things like this. Yes, could Chaol have done more? Sure. But it's difficult for me to hate him and understand the hate towards him when he is just a human trying to deprogram himself.
A fair amount of people have commented recently saying that the hate comes in at Shadow Queen. What's that one called? Is it called Shadow
Queen of Shadows?
Queen of Shadows.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
A number of people have commented, yeah, I didn't hate him until Queen of Shadows. And now I'm like, what happens?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't even know when that what book that is. Is it after Heir of Fire?
Yeah, it's Heir of Fire, Assassin's Blade, and then Queen of Shadows is chronologically right after Heir of Fire.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So that, I mean, people are saying that's the one that they lose it with him.
Okay. Well, I guess we wait and see.
So far, no hate. We reserve the right to hate.
Yep. Hang tight. We'll be back faster than a smoldering stare across a battlefield. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals, start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids, because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. It's starting to get into hot weather here in California, and both Jack and I are weaklings when it comes to the sun. One of the things we always make sure we do is hydrate, but especially with electrolytes.
I think it's a well-known fact amongst our friends that I drink Liquid IV daily. I try to drink 3 liters of water a day, and my liter that has my Liquid IV is always my favorite one, and I save it for my midday water because it's my happiest water.
Happiest water.
It is my happiest water. It brings me the most joy because it's the most tasty.
I'm so excited to try the new Arctic raspberry flavor. I love raspberry, and I love the idea of it being icy cold.
Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solution powders as well by LIV Hydroscience for smart hydration.
Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more.
Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BookTok at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BookTalk, BookTalk, at liquidiv.com.
Chaol is instructed to get Celaena, quote, in line. And it's just another moment, right? That she is but an animal. She is meant to be controlled, and it is meant to be a man to be her tamer, to control her.
Mm-hmm.
These little things that show the king is just a super good guy, you know? Chaol is really struggling with Nehemia's death, but in different ways. I think it really challenges him on every front of his own being. Quote, it had been days since he dared look in the mirror. Even if it hadn't been the king who'd ordered Nehemia dead, if Chaol had warned Celaena about the unknown threat, at least she would have been looking out. If he'd warned Nehemia, her men would have been on alert too. Sometimes the reality of his decision hit him so hard he couldn't breathe. He followed orders. He followed what he was told, his vow, but not his honor. And honor would have told him, like, hey, maybe we should give everyone a heads up here.
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
Chaol carries Celaena into her room, and Philippa is the one to give her a bath. Quote, Philippa was already waiting, beckoning him to the bathing chamber. He hadn't even thought of that Celaena might need to be cleaned before getting into bed. And I would like to point out that it is not Celaena, but Philippa bathing her, because we've talked before about how bathing is very much a baptismal cleansing of sins type of affair. And it is not Celaena who's giving herself the bath, so she is not currently forgiving herself.
Mm-hmm.
We are in chapter 32, super short. Again, as someone who has lost people, there is a danger to idolizing the dead. Quote, Celaena had adored Nehemia from the moment she laid eyes on her, like they were twin souls who had at last found each other, a soul friend, and now she was gone. And this is a moment where I understand disproportionately remembering a situation, idolizing the dead. I really don't think they were anywhere near this type of friendship for her to be that delulu.
I completely agree. Let's also remember that they met each other and they connected because they both disliked Keltane.
Yeah. Yep.
So, A, not okay. B, as we're going through this episode and we're saying what we're saying about how Celaena idolizes Nehemia, it makes you question how much Celaena idolized Sam post-death, which, you know, without spoiling Assassin's Blade, I would say is definitely, there's a case for it.
I agree entirely. It's how we say that Dorian doesn't fall in love with Celaena until she breaks up with him. No matter what he says, but it feels like it's very much a like, now that they're gone, he really he's like, wait, I do want to be with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that you make a good case of that.
I'm taking a sip.
Oh, me too. We start chapter 33, and we are completely removed from Celaena and everyone. Instead, we are with a random girl who is a slave at the mines, and she is with all the other people when they find out about Nehemia's death. And I think SJM does a really good job in this series of getting us these wonderful emotional moments in scenes, in chapters with characters that we're never going to see again.
I agree. It's a lot like the Raina Goldsmith scene, which I think you also reference at the end of your notes, but it kills me every time. Like, it really, you know, where I can't believe the emotions of Celaena, the emotions that Raina Goldsmith and this slave woman bring are like, those are the heavy hitters for me. Those are what make this book memorable.
Yeah. I called her a girl because that's what the book called her. I just want to say that.
Yes. I have a hard time telling if she's a girl or not.
Oh, another moment that SJM does this really well, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but there is an orchestra that SJM talks about, and that is a audio that I hear all the time on TikTok. She does a really good job. So this is her. I think she gets to lay it on thick, and it works because it's such a short amount of time.
Yep.
SJM is able to give us just enough details to connect with these characters. Again, she does that all the time with each one. Quote, she had been in the mines for 6 months, longer than anyone else had survived, she had been told. That reminds me of Celaena, right? And especially after the 6 months is when she tried to make her escape, I think. But we know that Celaena was in the mines for a year, and that was longer than anyone else. So immediately when I read that, I was like, this girl's just like our Celaena, which then makes us connected to her emotionally. Then you have this moment, quote, she would make it, then bury her dead. And when the mourning months were over, she would find the nearest rebel group and join them. This is almost what Celaena's supposed to be, right? Like we're getting these connections of, okay, so this girl's been in the mines longer than anyone else. Well, that was just like Celaena, and she's determined and she's going to come out here and be a rebel. All right. Well, that's what Celaena was supposed to do.
Yeah. I love that you're pointing out the Celaena connections because, like you said, SJM's laying it on thick to make us connect with this girl. And then she also layers it on through imagery to help us empathize with her as well. Quote, she swung her pickaxe into that unforgiving wall of stone, her breath ragged in her parched throat. The overseer lounged against a nearby wall, sloshing water in his canteen. There is so much cruelty in the juxtaposition of the girl's parched throat and the sloshing water being rubbed in her face, right? In my mind, it's an open canteen and the water spilling over the side onto the ground. Like, it's wasteful.
Yeah.
So let's keep the water imagery going. A ripple of stillness followed by wails. She felt it coming, swelling up toward her, closer and closer with each turned head and murmured words. And then she heard it, the words that changed everything. The words were past her before she had time to swallow them. Just like the water in the guard's canteen, the news of Nehemia's death is like water. It ripples, it swells like a wave, and then it rushes past her and she can't even swallow it. She remains parched. Here, water is symbolic not only of life, but also hope and freedom. And the slave girl's thirst is never sated, neither by water nor by freedom via Nehemia. And so ultimately, it is better for her to choose her fate than to die from that lack of water or freedom.
Yeah. Ooh, you really were feeling yourself.
I really was.
Yeah, good job. And then we get this last moment, which reminds us of Raina Goldsmith. Quote, silently, she began to recite the names of her dead. And this is when this young woman goes out in a blaze of glory and starts, attacking the guards, knowing that she's going to die, but she's going to die while thinking of the ones that she loves.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Beautiful, just like Raina. And again, to your point earlier, just like Celaena.
Finally, we are in chapter 34, and I like how chapter 34 starts quite a bit. Quote, Rez's eyes grew wary as they took in the healing cuts that ran down Chaol's cheek. 2 had already scabbed and would fade, but there was a long, surprising deep one that was still tender. Chaol wondered whether it would scar. He deserved it if it did. So at this point, a fair amount of paragraphs had passed of Rez talking to someone. We don't know who he's talking to. We can kind of guess who it is. And it isn't until this moment when Chaol is thinking about his own cheek that we get the identifier that it is Chaol, which shows that he wants to be like, he's almost so ashamed of himself that he can't even put himself there unless it's with the markers of the cuts on his cheek, which he hopes will scar. And good news, Celaena hopes the same thing. So,
yeah,
twinsies.
Yeah. And they're back in sync. He knows he deserves the scar, the pain, or the reminder of his failure. He's self-aware. He wants it to scar, just like Celaena wants it to scar. So, they started connected in tandem. They grew apart, but ultimately they think the same.
Yeah.
They are the same person sometimes.
I mean, it's kind of like when we talk about Farah and Tamlin, they were into each other for a reason, unfortunately, guys.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to our Court of Thorns and Roses season and all the other seasons. But it's, they had valid reasons to be into one another. There was a connection.
Yeah.
We are now in Dorian's perspective, and he's reflecting on how his cousin Roland has really been there for him. Quote, Roland seconded Dorian's proposal that they should publicly apologize to Nehemia's parents for her death. His father had exploded when Dorian suggested that, but Dorian had still written her parents a message expressing his deepest condolences. His father could go to hell for all he cared. Elena said that Nehemia's death would inspire Celaena. And they were at one point, they're like, all right, who are we going to choose? Who do we want to traumatize? One or the other. We got options. And they're like, all right, well, Celaena's more ready to be traumatized. And I think that Nehemia's death is really getting a 2-for-1 deal for Elena. And again, I kind of wonder how much of that was Elena's own mastermind being there, right? Like how much of it is Elena telling Nehemia, hey, go get close to Dorian because, exit strategy, we're going to need you to kill yourself and we're going to have to traumatize these people around you. So if you can go and make a connection to one of the people that we'll have to traumatize, that would be great.
Yeah, love your point. I completely agree with you. And this is where the tragedy lies. I know Elena's been dead for 1,000 years?
Yeah.
All you had to do was wait 6 more months, lady. Like, Celaena was already on her way to being like, you know what? Terracin was good. Maybe we could have Terracin again. And honestly, as soon as Dorian meets Sorsha in Air of Fire, that leads to him breaking eventually.
Yeah.
Both of them were going to break and or figure it out.
Yeah.
She did not need to cause her trauma. She didn't need to stir the pot. Just stop.
And that's where it's like, is there a timeline that they needed to move before the king could move? Yeah, there's I get some of that, but some of the tragedy really is how much Elena decided to stir shit up. And I just wish there was more. Maybe in future books that, again, parts that I don't remember, there is a reflection of hey, maybe the dead should just have left everything the fuck alone.
Yeah. Maybe things will work out.
I mean, that's always risky, but you know, here's hoping.
Just wait 1,000 more years and somebody else will figure it out.
Right. Also, just a quick note. We're into Dorian's perspective and he's reflecting about how he stopped Celaena before killing Chaol. Quote, he just known that the woman he'd loved was about to kill his oldest friend over a misunderstanding. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we're back to admitting that you're in love with Celaena. Amazing how closing your eyes didn't really work. And I know I see what you're about to say, but it just.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because when you read the quote, I was like, it's the California in us. We don't pronounce our D's. He'd loved, as in he had loved. But, but I will say when I read that same line, I did also think the same thing of so you do still love her. And then I was like, oh, no. He had loved her. Got it.
I'm not happy about it. I don't know. I'm not, no. I'm never.
Okay.
No, you're right. But
she
no.
doesn't like it.
No, I just, no, you're right. I still am disappointed in him. That's all.
Yeah, you can be as disappointed as you want to be.
Thank you.
I don't want to be.
I don't want to be anything other than what I've been lately. If you get to sing a song, I get to sing a song. He's bouncing off my booty cheeks.
So I was watching the edit for episode 3, the video edit. But I had it on 1.7 speed.
Oh my God.
And listening to us sing on 1.7 speed.
I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately.
It's so funny.
Dorian thinks about the loss of Nehemia and what that means to him. Quote, Nehemia had once promised to be there when he'd needed help. When some power in him awoke, she'd had known. Had her assassin in killing Nehemia also killed any hope he had in finding answers? If her assassin is Elena, then yeah. Then I think yes.
Yeah, because Elena was like, he doesn't need a break yet.
Not yet. I think, what if we could have helped him? What if we delayed you dying by a day? You helped him a little bit. And then the next 4 books, he doesn't have to go through as much shit as he does.
Oh, man. Yeah, poor Dorian.
We're now with Celaena again, and she's not doing great. She's been sitting at her chair. She's just staring out the window, but she's focused again. Quote, she had bathed once, long enough to wash her hair, and Philippa had watched the whole time to make sure she didn't drown herself instead. Absolutely not baptismal.
No.
absolutely not cleansing of sins. So even in the moments where she is bathing herself, it's not a relieving moment.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, breadcrumbs and broomsticks.
Let's take a sip before we do that, though.
Amen.
In chapter 27, while Chaol is chained up in the warehouse with the rebels, he sees, quote, one of them, tall with 2 swords crossed over his back, approached. Now there's a lot of the man with the 2 swords, the man with the 2 swords, the man with the 2 swords, which is seared into our brain because it's also used in Heir of Fire when Chaol approaches the rebels again. And we find out this man is Ren Allsbrook, a noble from Terrasen.
Really helps when we know what's going on in the next book.
I actually did remember that.
Oh, really?
I didn't remember his name, but I remembered the significance of the 2 swords.
Oh, good job. In chapter 28, after Archer stops Celaena from killing everyone in the warehouse, Celaena notices, quote, the old man had exposed his face to her, was staring with a mixture of awe and disbelief. This is Ren's grandfather. I'm not going to say his name.
Murtaugh.
That's the one. Another nobleman from Terrasen. Does he recognize Celaena? Maybe. We don't know.
I honestly don't remember.
remember.
In chapter 31, Dorian thinks back on when he used his magic to save Chaol from Celaena. Quote, he used his power to stop Celaena's hand before she stabbed Chaol, and that no one except Celaena had noticed. And when she'd hissed at him, he'd seen something so savage in her eyes that he shuddered. The big old fey clue.
Yeah. Again, no one really noticed that she looked at me and hissed. How dumb is everyone that they're not paying attention to the one person that they're trying to pay attention to? In chapter 31, still, Chaol tells Dorian about Celaena trying to save Nehemia. Quote, I've never seen anyone run that fast. Dorian, it was like, Chaol shook his head. I found a horse within seconds of her taking off, and she outran me. Who could do that? Fey clue, fey clue, fey clue. Now for broomsticks. All right. We asked our listeners a question, and we were like, yo, were Celaena and Nehemia actually close friends? And we got a lot of responses. We got a lot of responses. I'm going to have to delete it once we're done because we're going to keep getting more.
To be kind, it was a means to an end for Nehemia. To be blunt, it was a parasitic relationship.
No, they were at best over-attached co-workers with a trauma bond.
No, it never really rang true for me and felt more like a plot device than actual friendship.
No.
Truth.
I know, right? Nehemia approached Celaena as a queen, not as a friend. Celaena was a mission.
So true. I don't know, maybe for Celaena, but Nehemia always had an ulterior motive for getting close to her.
I believe it was one-sided friendship, but Nehemia did have love for her.
No, but Celaena never had a female friend before, so it felt closer, like Chaol than Rowan Switch.
Fair.
Or Stitch.
Yeah. Not as close as SJM wants us to think they really are. Honestly, I never really liked Nehemia.
No, both kept secrets that kept them from being their authentic selves with each other.
I don't actually think so. Nehemia never confided in Celaena or trusted her.
No, Nehemia was trying to pull her from being Celaena to Aelin and her true purpose.
This is one of my favorite comments. You two are asking life or death questions this season. Oh, someone made a good point. No, it was an imbalanced power dynamic.
Oh, good point.
That I hadn't even thought of that one. Good job, Kenny. Wow.
Oh, here's a good one. No, because their dynamic was uneven. Nehemia knew more and didn't tell Celaena. Celaena idolized Nehemia because Nehemia didn't abandon her people in Celaena's eyes. Someone said, not as close as Amy and Jack.
Oh, God, I hope so. Someone said, I imagine SJM wanted us to trust and believe they were. Unfortunately, it was to us not shown through many genuine or hurtful moments based on how Celaena reacts to her death. Chaol betrayal aside, we might assume that Nehemia was meant as much to Celaena as someone like Chaol at this point in the story. What's most believable, though, is that Nehemia, by way of female friendship, was all Celaena ever had. Emphasized had, or had ever. So maybe they were close to one another by default. Didn't Fleetfoot really love Nehemia? That must mean something, right? That's fair.
I think they both wanted to be, but neither knew how to be a friend.
They both knew each other for like 7 minutes, and they were just the only other person something had to talk to.
So true.
I mean, I don't think people talk enough about like friendship of convenience, unfortunately, when they're kind of like all you have and you're like, all right, well, we're hanging out.
Friendship of convenience is like your entire high school experience.
And you don't even realize that it is.
Yeah.
And honestly, a good amount of your 20s is
Also that.
it too. And sometimes it grows into more.
Or sometimes 15 years later, it's still a friendship of convenience.
I was thinking about when I lived in the UK and I didn't have any family and my friends were the only people I had. So I had to really build out a network, because if you're busy and my other friends are busy, like, I'm fine. I can go do my own thing. If if I want to spend time with someone, I really can.
Yeah.
And if I really want to spend time, I can like, Mom, I'm flying out. And she would be like, thank God.
Yeah.
But like in London, I definitely had to build out a network so that, and I'm fine being alone, but those moments, and there were a fair amount of convenience friends, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I was their convenience friend too. And then one of them messaged being like, can I be on the podcast? And then I never wrote back. God, I hope she doesn't listen.
Okay.
No, because I want people to know that it's okay. Like, I wasn't mean. Like, friendship doesn't have to mean forever with some people. Some people it is, and some people...
It's a season.
It's a season. And some people are told that they have assignments to come up with secret handshakes before the next 15 years of friendship. That's what I told.
And I shortened it to 5.
All right. So that's on you.
We can't procrastinate.
I gave us leeway. You said 5 years. But, like, and I think there's like this idea with Celaena too that comes with youth of, you make a friend, you assume it's going to be for life.
Yeah.
And just because friends come and go sometimes, that does not make you a bad person. Just because, they don't stick around forever doesn't make you bad in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If we think that the fallout of Nehemia's death is not earned, or anything else around this moment is not earned, how would you change it?
I mean, I feel like you have to start over with Throne of Glass, to be honest. Because Nehemia is a plot device from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's what it comes down to.
And that's really what it is, right? If the fallout needed to be genuine, there's something to be said about the idolization of the dead, right? I do think that is within the realm of possibility. But I think the gravity with which Celaena attaches the rest of her decisions for the rest of the series to this turning point.
Yeah.
It's not about Nehemia. It's about her parents. And that connection needed to be emphasized more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only way you could have salvaged it.
Yeah.
If you'd already published Throne of Glass and your editor was like, I'm not believing this, right? You would have to really emphasize the parent factor, I think.
And turn her into a character.
Yeah.
Like, you can still have Nehemia be a plot device, which we hate. We hate that the one woman of color has been instructed by a white woman to sacrifice for herself in order to progress the other white woman's
journey,
journey. All of that is wrong. If you're going to do that, and let's, pretend that someone else is diverse here so that it doesn't come down to that. But if you're going to have Nehemia not be a plot device or still be a plot device, add that depth to her. Have Nehemia realize that she does like Celaena.
Yeah.
And her friendship.
You actually know what I would have changed? One thing that really bothers me is how Machiavellian Archer is, because we also have Elena and Nehemia doing Machiavellian things on this other side. I would have said pick one, and I would have said make the white man the bad guy. And don't make Nehemia and Elena so manipulative.
Yeah.
Archer's not believable because the reveal is at the end after we've had so much manipulation already from Elena and Nehemia. I would have made Nehemia and Elena less manipulative and Nehemia a victim of circumstance and Archer rather than of a dead white woman.
It would have been good if we had a moment of Nehemia and Elena, and maybe this would have been like a spoiler for them, but rather than Elena being like, all right, girl, go kill yourself off, it might have been a conversation between the princess and the queen saying, give Celaena more time. She will come around to this. I can see her changing. And if that conversation, like, you can still show that they were working together, but have Nehemia plea to Elena saying like,
for more time,
saying like, look, she's coming to this. I know she's changing. And then Elena being like, okay, we'll give her time. She's found joy, something, right? And then everything could still have played out the way that it is, right? And then maybe Archer really did get Nehemia killed, and Nehemia's death does happen, and all of it still plays out. And, there's still the quote unquote Chaol betrayal. But at least to your point, it would have been Archer who would have
manipulated
fucked it up. And you could still get the betrayal that Nehemia was working with Celaena.
Yeah. It all would have, it would such a small change.
Yeah.
But it would have made such a big difference.
For the long term of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that one moment, even if you could have every single conversation be the exact same way, but in that one moment, if you had Nehemia defending and trying to say she's happy, please, I think she can come around to this happiness is making her, realize it. That one thing would have made me say, she does care about Celaena.
I would also like to point out that one thing is one chapter that's only this long.
Yeah.
It is the smallest fucking edit in the world.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. There's too many evil people working against her, and it's hard for me to then say, yes, Celaena, go on this journey and do what Elena needs you to do. And it makes me resent the whole thing from here on out. And it makes me almost be like, Celaena, I need you to be more resentful from here on out.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't think anyone's resentful enough from what I remember. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
But I think you make a good point. That at the end of the day is what was wrong. You could have walked away with hitting all the things you needed to hit. Make the man be the ultimate manipulative one.
Yep. Agreed.
And still have everything play out.
Yep.
Hey, we fixed it.
I mean, it still is fundamentally bad. Not bad.
Yeah, no, it's still bad. You can still have all the bad things, SJM, that you wanted of having Nehemia be controlled, because it would still be Elena telling Nehemia, hey, I need you to go meet Celaena and I need you to go orchestrate things.
Right. It would still be killing off the woman of color. It would still be bad.
Yeah.
But it would be marginally improved.
Yeah. At least it'd be improved in the sense I could believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, we'll send this to SJM for whenever she decides to rewrite the series.
And never listen to us again.
We're on a blacklist, I'm sure.
Oh, 100. A long time ago.
A long time ago of things that she will never, if she doesn't know about us, her people do. And they will never tell her. Although, watch, I'm going to, hear me now, guys. Here's my Machiavellian. You want Elena level shit, SJM? I'll do Elena level shit. I'm going to have my book series, my romantasy book series become so big that someone's going to ask you to do a little snippet of, SJM read this book and said blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be like, oh, a talk with the authors. And I'm going to work my way up until finally I get to sit there and did a podcast about you. And reveal my mask underneath. It was me the whole time. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Next week, we'll be exploring chapters 35 through 38 of Crown of Midnight.
We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. We would also love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our forum at booktalkforbooktalk.com for a chance to have your feedback discussed during a future mini episode or a Patreon exclusive episode.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle Book Talk for Book Talk.
Bye. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals, start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card. giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits, and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids, because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. It's starting to get into hot weather here in California, and both Jack and I are weaklings when it comes to the sun. One of the things we always make sure we do is hydrate, but especially with electrolytes.
I think it's a well-known fact amongst our friends that I drink Liquid IV daily. I try to drink 3 liters of water a day, and my liter that has my Liquid IV is always my favorite one, and I save it for my midday water because it's my happiest water.
Happiest water.
It is my happiest water. It brings me the most joy because it's the most tasty.
I'm so excited to try the new Arctic raspberry flavor. I love raspberry, and I love the idea of it being icy cold.
Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solution powders as well by LIV Hydroscience for smart hydration.
Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more.
Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BookTok at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BookTalk, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com.